بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة الأبدية على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني أفقه قولي. السلام عليكم my beloved ones ورحمة الله وبركاته. Inshallah, we are going to continue the manasik al-Hajj. So we are going to enter another wajib from the wajibat. So we started from entering the state of Ihram in Makkah, and we said Labbaik in Makkah, and then we arrived in Arafat from noon till sunset. If that time was missed, then from the sunset till the sunrise of the eve of Eid, that would be the secondary stay, and then we arrived in Muzdalifah somewhere at night, and we have to stay before Fajr some portion of time, which is Rukun, and the obligatory time, which is between the dawn and the sunrise, the time of Salat al-Fajr. If missed, then a portion of the day of Eid from sunrise till noon time. That we also covered. After that, we we entered Mina. And Mina, we had to do three most important things. We had the first pelting of the shaitan, and then acquiring, remember the technical term of say this is done, acquiring the animal of sacrifice. And then after that, we had after acquiring the animal of sacrifice, we shave or clip off our hair and exit this ihram partially, except for anything related to women would be prohibited. For women, pleasurable activities with men, and for men, pleasurable activities for women. So Tawaf al-Nisa, we call it Tawaf al-Nisa, for the women to be halal on men, or for men, so that women can be halal upon them. So they become halal on each other, those who are halal before entering the state of Ihram. So so that was something which we did before, until we have the seventh obligation, seventh, eighth, ninth. So seventh obligation is tawaf around the Kaaba, tawaf al-Hajj. Then the salat of tawaf, and then the sa'i between Safa and Marwa. After sa'i between Safa and Marwa, are we going to clip off the hair? No, there's no hair left on the head, because we did the hair part in Mina. So what we need to do is we need to make the perfume halal and the pleasurable spousal relationship halal. Uh, those are the things remaining. Other than that, everything is become halal, and also hunting as well. So let's see. So we are on the page of Tawaf al-Hajj and Salat of Tawaf of Hajj. So and let me remind you, everything is exactly the way we did in Umrah al-Tamattu or in Umrah al-Mufrada. Like Tawaf, all the conditions. So we are not going to talk about any conditions here. We're not going to talk about the Salat al-Tawaf, the details of it. And we are not going to talk about the Sa'i. Whatever is relevant to Hajj al-Tamattu, that's what we are going to talk about here. So he says the seventh, eighth, and ninth obligation of Hajj al-Tamattu, obligations of Hajj al-Tamattu, obligations of Hajj al-Tamattu are what? Are Tawaf, Salat of Tawaf, and the Sa'i between Safa and Marwa. So ruling number 410. The how to perform Salat of Tawaf, how to perform Tawaf of Hajj, Salat of Tawaf of Hajj, and the Sa'i between Safa and Marwa, their conditions, they are exactly the same we mentioned previously in the Tawaf of Umrah and Salat of Tawaf of Umrah and in the Sa'i. Ruling number 411. So now you have an option to offer the sandwich. Why do I say sandwich? Because many people, they just, they are in the tawaf, they do tawaf al-Hajj, and they do salat tawaf al-Hajj. They say, why should I go to Sa'i and come back? I'm here. Let me finish the Tawaf and Nisa. No, the sequence is must, and we discussed the sequence issue there in the chapter of uh, Umrah. So therefore, we have here the sequence is important. So this package, yes, you can delay Tawaf on Nisa, but Tawaf of Hajj and Sa'i, as we know, it should be done in the same day. So when should we do it? After you have completed your A'mal of Mina, okay, you can perform it any time until the end of the Hajj. Until the end of the Hajj. So you have from the beginning, where the day of Eid, if not able to day of Eid, the days of Tashriq. Remember the sun, the illuminated days, or the sun, the days where the sun is risen on the meat or the goats. Tashriq. We said we'll consider it Tashriq. That is 11th, 12th, and 13th. Okay, so you can perform it that day. You can perform. Some scholars, they say don't delay it after the 13th. Do it and Tashriq. However, Sayyid Sistani Damadullah says you can delay it until the end of the Dhul Hajj. Okay, it should not be a problem, but it's recommended to do it as early as possible, and to do it on the day of Eid, after you have done the Amal of Mina of day of Eid. If not possible, people are tired, people are exhausted, then you can do it on the days of Tashriq, okay, rather until the end of the Hajj. So he says, ruling number 411, it is recommended to perform the Tawaf of Hajj on the day of sacrifice. Not necessarily day of Eid, he has mentioned day of sacrifice. So once that sacrifice is done, he can perform this. And it's recommended precaution not to delay it, to the 11th of Dhul Hajj. So it's Yom al-Nahar, the day of Eid, the day of sacrifice, whether it's the 10th or you did the sacrifice on the 11th, do it that. And recommended precaution, don't delay it more than 11th. Even though it's permissible, rather it is permissible to perform it عن أيام بل جواز التأخير عن أيام التشريق قليلا. يعني a little bit after أيام التشريق, the days of Tashriq, you can do it. He says that also until the end of the Hajj, has the opinion, in his opinion, if a person delays the tawaf and sa'i until the end of the Hajj, still it is not it has strength in it. Okay, it has some strength in it. The opinion has strength. That means it's a fatwa. That means you can delay it until the end of the Hajj. Okay, so it's recommended to perform it day of sacrifice. Recommended precaution not to delay it later than 11th Dhul Hajj. Even though it's permissible to delay it, rather it's permissible to delay it a little bit after the days of Tashriq. And there is a strength in the opinion that considers until the end of the Hajj. But normally they do it because they have to travel. The only problem is it's so crowded and packed. So you have to deal with that situation of claustrophobic and all those kind of situation which a person might encounter. Otherwise, 11th, people, they do it on 11th, they finish it off. Some of them, they have strength. They just go and there do the tawaf and tawaf of Hajj and Sa'i at least, and delay tawaf and Nisa on the next day. However, it's totally upon your strength and ability, because it's wajib. It's one of those pillar things. So you don't want to mess up with tawaf and you're tired and exhausted and being pushed from here and there. So 10th of the Hajj and 11th of the Hajj, there is crowd. Sometimes I saw the crowd also on 12th of the Hajj. But 13th of the Hajj, the crowd is way less, because many people, they travel after 12th of the Hajj. Once they are done with their tawaf, they travel. Ruling number 412. 412. Ruling number 412. On the basis of obligatory precaution, one should not proceed with the tawaf of Hajj and the salat of tawaf of Hajj and the sa'i before the obligatory stays in Hajj al-Tamattu. Obligatory 2 stays of Hajj al-Tamattu. The stay in Arafat and stay in Muzdalifah. Okay. So since he says obligatory precaution, that means there's a room for its validity. That means some maraja might have said it is okay that people can do the tawaf of Hajj. But Sayyidi Sistani Dz, he is hesitant to give a fatwa that it's permissible in every cases for everyone. So he says it is obligatory precaution not to precede it before the 2 stays of Arafat and Muzdalifah. Okay. What if somebody out of unawareness or out of ignorance, he did it? Therefore, if someone precedes it before those 2 stays out of unawareness, then there is a problem insufficiency. Okay. And this وَإِنْ كَانَ لَا يَخْلُ مِنْ وَجْهٍ, even the validity has some kind of strength in it. So that means intentionally one has to redo it. Unintentionally, unawareness, he said that there is a strength in the validity, okay, in the opinion of validity. So therefore, وَإِنْ كَانَ لَا يَخْلُ مِنْ وَجْهٍ, even though the opinion of validity is not free from acceptance. Okay, there's an opinion of acceptance, and that is la yakhlu. There is a kind of room for acceptance. ويستثنى من الحكم المذكور. Okay, so obligatory precaution not to precede the tawaf of Hajj and the sa'i of tawaf of Hajj, salat of tawaf Hajj and the sa'i before the 2 stays of Muzdalifah and Arafah. And there are some exceptional cases. So who are exempt? Those who can do the tawaf before the 2 stays. As we mentioned before, a woman who fears that she might encounter monthly period, or she might deliver a child, and then she might go into the postnatal discharge or bleeding, which has similar rule, nifas. So similar rules to the hayd, monthly period, or postnatal bleeding. These two discharges will prevent this woman from performing the tawaf and salat of tawaf, and it will be hassle. Wait until the caravan leaves and this and that. So she can't perform it. What about the elderly ones? They were exempt from Muzdalifah to stay the whole night. They're exempt for pelting the stone before everybody else. They were exempt from sacrificing before everyone else, or at least getting the sacrifice and then shaving off their head in the eve of Eid. All the amal of eve of Eid, they were allowed to do it before. So they were exempt from all these things. So will they be exempt here as well? Let's see. So A was a woman who is afraid of encountering the monthly discharge or the postnatal discharge. Number two, elderly, sick ones, anyone who has problems, which will face difficulty in performing the amal. Okay, uh, for them it will be very not easy to come back to Makkah and go for, especially the cars are not functioning, taxis are not functioning that much. Wherever they're functioning, they're way a bit. You have to do a big walk until you get those taxis, and then the traffic. You have to be are stranded at 3-4 hours in the traffic. I'm talking about my experience in the past. It's not maybe now they have easy traffic and easy flow of traffic. So therefore, these people uh, uh, upon whom it's very difficult, there is a difficulty and hardship in returning to Makkah from Mina, or difficulty in performing the tawaf due to the heavy crowd, heavy rush, okay, and so on. So these people, they can perform it before leaving for before the 2 stays. Uh, Whoever, number third category, C, that was A and B and C. The C is someone who's afraid of any kind of circumstances might encounter him, and he may not be able to go back to Makkah, and he may be stuck in Mina, and from Mina he may be traveling back to hometown or the airport, or whatever reason that he may not be able to come back to Makkah. There might be some issues and something might encounter. So these are all the three categories: monthly period, period or postnatal discharge, elderly, sick ones, all those whom returning to Makkah is difficult, or the tawaf in that time after post Arafat, post Eid time, or the time of Nahar is very crowded, and people might not be able to perform it there. All these, it is permissible for them to perform the tawaf and the salat of tawaf and the sa'i before the 2 stays after entering the state of ihram of Hajj. However, as it is recommended precaution for them, not obligatory, recommended precaution for them to redo these if it was possible for them to do until the end of the Hajj. Until the end of their Hajj. Okay, let's check 413. Whoever performs the tawaf of Hajj, whoever performs the tawaf of Hajj after the 2 stays, okay, uh, let's see, where did we go? Okay, من يأتي بطواف الحج بعد الوقوفين يلزم تأخيره عن الحلق والتقصير. So therefore, the sequence is this, that if you are going to perform the tawaf of Hajj after the 2 stays, then you need to delay it after shaving or clipping of your hair. You should not do them and still you have not shaved or clipped off your hair. because that's their partial unlocking of the ihram. So you have to first get out of the state of ihram partially, then do the tawaf of Hajj and the sa'i. So therefore, we have so tawaf of Hajj and sa'i, it should not be done before shaving and clipping off. What if someone does it? What if someone does it? فَلَوْ قَدَّمُوا عَالِمًا عَامِدًا. If somebody does it intentionally, deliberately, he should repeat the tawaf and the salat tawaf after shaving of the head. It will not be valid. وَجَبَتْ إِعَادَتُهُ بَعْدَهُ. And then what else? Just like that? No, there's a penalty. There's a kafara. You will have to pay sheep. So whoever is going to do the tawaf of Hajj, after the 2 stays, they need to do it after the shaving of the head. If before that, intentionally, deliberately, he must redo it, and there'll be a penalty of sheep upon them. 414, ruling number 414. Someone who's incapable of doing the tawaf of Hajj, okay? If someone is incapable of doing tawaf of Hajj and the salat of tawaf of Hajj and the sa'i, what should he do? He says, refer to the ruling we have mentioned previously in the chapter of Umrah, tawaf of Umrah, ruling number 326 and 342. So we are not going to repeat here. So, al-ajiz fil hajj an mubasharat al-tawaf wa salati, if he cannot do it by himself, what should he do? We have mentioned the rulings there. وَالْمَرْأَ الَّتِي يَطْرَأْ عَلَيْهَا الْحَيْض. Women, if she encounters monthly period or the postnatal discharge, and she cannot stay in Makkah until she's relieved from her excuse of monthly period and or postnatal bleeding. People are going to evacuate Makkah. They're going to go back to hometown or go to Medina. It is not possible for her to stay. So therefore, she would delegate a representation to perform the tawaf and salat of tawaf, and she would perform the sa'i by herself. But after the delegate has performed, or the representative has performed the tawaf on her behalf. Ruling number 415. If someone does the tawaf and offers the salat al-tawaf, remember what are the things which were remaining? Perfume and spousal pleasures upon both husband and wife. So if a person performs the tawaf, if a person who is in the state of ihram of Hajj al-Tamattu offers the tawaf and salat and performs the sa'i between Safa and Marwa, the perfume is going to be halal. The perfume is going to be permissible. So he'll unlock his ihram from the perfume. All the remaining spousal pleasurable prohibitions will be remaining until even the hunting on the basis of obligatory precaution. 416. What about if someone he's exempt, is given the permission, or is exempt from performing the tawaf and salat al-tawaf and sa'i before the two obligatory stays. Before the two obligatory stays. Okay? If someone is exempt, remember like those three categories, women, if she is afraid she'll encounter her excuse after the two stays and she'll have to do na'ib and this and that and hassle. So she's allowed to do the tawaf and salat al-tawaf and sa'i before the two stays of Arafat and Muzdalifah. The elderly and the sick one and those and someone else who might encounter any problem. So they are allowed to do those, the amal before those two stays. So if they are allowed to do the tawaf of Hajj and salat tawaf of Hajj and sa'i, can they use perfume? No. The perfume, first they need to unlock themselves from partial, and then uh, after the tawaf of Hajj and sa'i, it becomes permissible. But they have already done tawaf al Hajj and sa'i. Yes. So for them, once they unlock themselves from by the shaving uh, and clipping of their hair after the sacrifice, they will be able to smell the perfume. Like the prohibition of perfume will be removed. So he says, whoever is whoever it is, if someone was, let's say, whoever is permitted to perform, or let's say the word exempt, whoever is exempt to perform the tawaf and the sa'i before the two stays of Arafat and Muzdalifah, it will not be permissible for them to use the perfume until he performs the obligations of Mina, and such as pelting the stone, big Satan pillar, Satan pillar of the big Satan, and the sacrifice, or the shaving of the head and clipping the hair. So so after shaving of the head or clipping of the hair, they can. So they need to pelt, they need to offer the sacrifice, and then after that, shaving or clipping the hair, then it becomes halal upon them, the perfume, because he already did that, or she already did the tawaf. Okay. So that was about tawaf al-hajj and salat tawaf al-hajj. Since we have some time, we can continue to the 10th and 11th obligation of Hajj al-Tamattu', which is Tawaf al-Nisa and Salat Tawaf al-Nisa. Now, as we mentioned previously, it is called Tawaf al-Nisa, but both men and women, they are obligated to perform them. For men, their women become halal. For women, their men. So women is the focal point. For them to be halal upon their men, for their men, for them to be halal, and for the men to be halal upon them. So this is the 10th. So he says the 10th obligation of 10th and 11th obligation of Hajj al-Tamattu' is what? Is Tawaf al-Nisa and Salat of Tawaf al-Nisa. I'm not mentioning Tawaf of women because everybody knows Tawaf al-Nisa. So we don't need to translate Tawaf of women. Or if we want to translate, we can translate it. It's not a problem. And these are, though they are from the wajibat of Hajj, obligation of Hajj, they are not from the pillars. Okay? Remember, there are pillars like Tawaf of Hajj or Tawaf of Umrah, Salat Tawaf of Hajj, Salat Tawaf of Umrah, Sa'i. These are pillars. Okay? Staying in Arafat and Muzdalifah. But the rest were obligations. Okay? Which if somebody misses it, then it is not affecting the Hajj, and they will be required to give penalty in some cases. So let's say unintentionally, for example. But if you miss unintentional tawaf, heck, the whole thing is like visiting the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Hajj means visiting the house of God. and the Mina and Arafat and Muzdalifah. So though Muzdalifah is more crucial, still Arafat is a pillar of Hajj. So they are not pillar of Hajj. I mean, Tawaf al-Nisa and Salat of Tawaf al-Nisa are not pillars of Hajj. Therefore, if someone abandons it intentionally, it will not cause invalidation of Hajj. Okay? Intentionally, unintentionally, in every case, it will not cause invalidation of Hajj. 417. As it is obligatory to perform Tawaf al-Nisa on the men, it is also obligatory upon the women. Therefore, if a man does not perform Tawaf al-Nisa, his women will be prohibited upon him. And if a woman abandons Tawaf al-Nisa, men would be prohibited upon her. What about the representative? Representing someone else. So if I don't do Tawaf al-Nisa, will it affect the Naib or affect me? Okay? Like for marhum, if somebody is doing Hajj for marhum, so one of the mu'minin, he asked me this question. Let's say if I don't do Tawaf al-Nisa for the marhum, will he be prevented from his huriyat and hur and all those things, or what? So therefore, it is not going to affect that person. He's going to enjoy his huriyat. It is you who are going to have a problem because you are the performer of tawaf. You are doing it on his behalf to relieve his obligation. But to relieve yourself from the prohibition of women, you need to perform tawaf in nisa. Okay? Yeah. وَالنَّائِفِ الْحَجْ عَنِ الْغَيْرِ, and the representative of someone else in performing the Hajj on behalf of someone else, the representative who is performing the Hajj on behalf of someone else, he must perform the Tawaf al-Nisa on behalf of the one who has hired him or delegated to him to represent him. So the one who has delegated him or given him the representation, he's the one, he's performing the Tawaf al-Nisa on his behalf. But you, the performer of Tawaf al-Nisa, is going to be prohibited from your women. Okay? So he says that the one who is representing someone in Hajj is going to perform the Tawaf al-Nisa on behalf of the one who have represented him, not on his for his own behalf. Ruling number 418. Tawaf of Nisa and the Salat of Tawaf of Nisa is similar to the Tawaf of Hajj in is the method, the conditions, and everything, whatever was there is applied here, except for the intention. What about if someone cannot perform Tawaf al-Nisa by himself or the Salat of Tawaf al-Nisa? So it says the ruling of someone who is incapable of performing Tawaf al-Nisa or Salat of Tawaf al-Nisa is the same ruling of someone who is incapable of performing Tawaf of Umrah and Salat of Tawaf of Umrah. And the ruling has been mentioned in ruling number 326. So if one wants to know, he can refer to that. Ruling number 420. So what if someone intentionally, deliberately, or out of unawareness of the ruling, or out of unaware, or out of forgetfulness, does not perform Tawaf al-Nisa? So من ترك طواف النساء سواء كان متعمدا, intentionally, مع العلم بالحكم, deliberately he did not do, knowing the ruling of Tawaf al-Nisa, or unknowing the ruling of it, unaware about it, or he forgot to perform it. وجب عليه تداركه. It's obligatory upon him to do it. Otherwise, the spousal relations will not be permissible. If she's women or men, husband or wife. Even if a husband did, he cannot come to his wife. He can come to another wife, but not the wife who did not perform Tawaf al-Nisa. وَمَعَ تَعَذُّرِ الْمُبَاشَرَةِ أو تعسرها. What if she's not able to, the things encounter, or he's not able to, things encountered him, okay? Let's say, for example, he left to his hometown. And then the Maulana was talking about Tawaf al-Nisa. Really? Is there something with Tawaf al-Nisa? I don't know. No one told me. Why didn't you attend the sessions of Manasik al-Hajj? So, so he can't. So anyone who's not able to perform by him or herself, or it was difficult for that person to perform Tawaf al-Nisa on behalf of himself, such as he traveled, such as women encountered period, or then it will be permissible for that person to delegate a representative to perform the Tawaf al-Nisa on his behalf. So if that person, now here, the Naib is going to do the Tawaf of Nisa, it will affect the one who has represented him. Here the scenario is different from the marhum, or from the person who's not able to perform the Hajj and someone else is performing the Hajj, because the whole manasik is done by that representative. Here, no. You find some of the brothers, call them, please, I forgot to do the Tawaf al-Nisa. He's going to go in his regular clothing, okay, unless if he's entering Makkah. But if he's habitant of Makkah, then he's just going to go wudu and all the things and make intention on your behalf, and you have to keep yourself on hold. So this naib is delegated to perform something which you missed and which you are supposed to perform, or you deliberately missed, or you forgot, and then you are stuck in your situation. So that person is going to relieve you, okay? But not the tawaf of the marhum, or the tawaf of somebody who gave you delegations to delegate you, represented you to perform the Hajj on his behalf. So he's doing the whole package on your behalf. Yes, let's take a double up scenario. You represented someone to perform the Hajj. He went. He came back. Mabruk, Khushali Mubarak, I did your Hajj and this and that. Out of curiosity, he said that, yani you did also Tawaf al-Nisa. Tawaf al-Nisa. What Tawaf al-Nisa? No one told me. Oh. Now question for you guys. Who stuck? The one who represented, or the delegate who represented is stuck? Here in this scenario, the delegate, the representative, he's stuck because he performed all the manasik and he forgot this. So he has to ask someone in Medina or Makkah or whoever is there from his friends performing Umrah or whatever, any time in the year, please do the Tawaf al-Nisa on my behalf. So for that person, there's no prohibition on women because he's not in the state of Ihram. Unless if he was in the state of Ihram, that's his Ihram. So if he's not in the state of Ihram, it's not prohibited upon him. He will just do the Tawaf of Nisa and the 2 rakat of Tawaf and Nisa on your behalf, because you are stuck, not the one who represented you. So this is the difference between a person who's being represented, who's been given a representative in a wholesome package. That person, if he does not perform Tawaf al-Nisa, the representer will not be affected, but the one who is representative, he's going to be affected. Okay, and if somebody misses it and he was a representative, he has to represent someone else to relieve him and the marhum. So that person or the one who represented him. So I know you guys, the mind is spinning. Let's clear this out. Someone represented me to perform Hajj on his behalf. Okay, so I am representing that person. I forgot to do Tawaf al-Nisa and came back home. And he says, did you do Tawaf al-Nisa? Oh, no, I forgot. Oh my goodness. Now who's stuck? I'm stuck. But it is wajib, remember. I need to do Tawaf al-Nisa to do two things: to relieve that person from the wajib and to relieve myself from the prohibition of the spousal relations. I hope now it's clear. That person is not going to be affected with the spousal relation. That person, the wajib has not been fulfilled. But the one who was there, he is affected by not performing Tawaf al-Nisa, which is me. Okay? Not the one whom I represent. For him, I need to relieve him from the wajib, which he needs to do, because it's one of the obligations. Hajj is correct, but that wajib is stuck. For me, I'm stuck in the prohibition of the spousal relations. So this is something which is the person is going to do the Tawaf al-Nisa on behalf of that person. Okay? So if he does on behalf of that person, the spousal relation will become halal for him, the representative. فَإِذَا طَافَ النَّائِبْ عَنْهُ حَلَّتْ لَهُ النِّسَاء. Even the pronouns are a bit like intertwined, but that is the thing. فَإِذَا مَاتَ قَبْلَ تَدَارُكِهِ. If he dies before fulfilling the Tawaf al-Nisa, will he barred from the hurs of Jannah on the day of Jannah? These are your hurs. Okay. Hello. Wait. You have not done Tawaf al-Nisa. You forgot. Oh my goodness. Will that affect him? He says, I mean, that's a sarcastic thing. Obviously, it will not affect him. But we are talking about the obligation. Who should perform that obligation of Tawaf al-Nisa, which a person was supposed to perform Tawaf al-Nisa, he died. Okay? فَإِن مَاتَ, if a person dies before performing the Tawaf al-Nisa, then his guardian or his inheritor, okay, the one who inherits him, or anyone else, does the makeup of it. Okay, does the qada on his behalf, because he missed. So they will do the qada. They will perform on his behalf, either his guardian or anyone else. So there is no problem in anyone fulfilling the wajib of the marhum. If no one does it voluntarily from the inheritors or the anyone else other than inheritors, nobody does it voluntarily, then it's obligatory precaution to take out some amount from the assets of the marhum, and take out from the assets of the marhum with their consensus, okay, and give someone that money to perform the tawaf of Nisa on behalf of the marhum. So it says, if no one does it voluntarily, then obligatory precaution. It would be some amount would be taken from the taken out from the shares of the elderly, not elderly inheritors, um, mature inheritors. That means they have reached the age of maturity. They're baligh, kibar al-waratha. So they are not minors. Okay, so they are not minors. They have passed the age of puberty. They're baligh. So from there, because we will not take from the minors shares, we will take from the those who have reached the age of puberty and above. We will take from the shares with their consensus. Okay, if they say no, 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 we don't want to give money for tawaf and nisa, someone to do tawaf and nisa, then there will be a problem. So it will be taken from those who approved. So therefore, it is obligatory precaution to take out from the share, from the assets of the marhum, from the share of those who have, those who are mature, adult, okay, from the shares of the adult of the inheritors, or inheritors who are adults with their consensus. Question number 421. It is not permissible to precede tawaf of nisa before the sa'i. Precede the tawaf in nisa or sa'i. So you cannot do tawaf in nisa before the sa'i. What if somebody does it? However, if somebody does it, if it was intentionally, deliberately, knowingly, then he must redo the sa'i. Okay, redo the tawaf and nisa after the sa'i, because he did before the sa'i. So he should not do before. Remember the sandwich thing, the reason I said sandwich? So people, they say, oh, we are in tawaf area, let's do the tawaf al nisa after tawaf al hajj and then go and do the sa'i. They want to be smart people, okay? But that should be a problem if they do it intentionally, deliberately, knowing the ruling, okay? So they will have to redo the tawaf and nisa and salat of tawaf and nisa after they perform the sa'i, because they did tawaf and nisa, sa'i. So they did tawaf al hajj, salat tawaf al hajj. They did tawaf and nisa and salat tawaf al nisa. After that, they did sa'i. We'll say no, kiss that tawaf and nisa goodbye. Now after the sa'i, do your. This was of someone, if someone was deliberate or intentional. How about if someone was out of unawareness about the ruling or out of forgetfulness? Maraja, they differ. There's a qawlun zahir which says they have to repeat after the sa'i. Qawlun Avhar, and that's Sayyid S Sistani Dz opinion. He says, most apparently, that means most apparently to him, it will be sufficient if it was done out of unawareness or out of forgetfulness. So وإن كان عن جهل أو نسيان أجزأه على الأظهر. If it was out of unawareness or out of forgetfulness, then it would be sufficient for that person. Okay, most apparently. Even though it is recommended precaution to repeat it after the sa'i. Repeat the tawaf al-nisa and salat tawaf al-nisa. 422. Can someone do it before the 2 stays? Yeah. We mentioned in ruling number 412 that it is permissible to precede tawaf al-nisa, tawaf al-nisa. It is permissible to precede tawaf al-nisa before the 2 stays of Arafat and Muzdalifah, before both stays of Arafat and Muzdalifah, as mentioned in ruling number 412. However, the women will not be permissible. That means we can say spousal relations will not be permissible on both gender, okay, before completing the manasik of Mina. So this is an exempt, exceptional case, but it does not take you out of the state of ihram. It does not make the perfume halal. It does not make the spousal relations halal, okay? So you complete Mina, amal of Mina, obligations of Mina. Pelting the big pillar of Satan, sacrifice, shaving, or clipping the hair. Ruling number 423. If a woman encounters period and the caravan was not going to wait for her, okay, until she is relieved from her excuse. And she was not able to leave, stay alone there, okay, if the caravan leaves, then it would be permissible for upon her, okay, to abandon tawaf al-nisa and leave with the caravan. And on the basis of obligatory precaution, she needs to appoint a representative to represent her in performing the tawaf of Nisa and Salat of Tawaf and Nisa on her behalf, as we mentioned previously. And if this is the shock and awe situation, she was performing the tawaf, during the tawaf, okay, she went into the hyperbolic state of spirituality and something like that and could not handle, and monthly period encountered during the tawaf. Okay. So so if, I mean, not it's not like that. It's just like sometimes men and women, they feel like that kind of spiritual shocks, and you are afraid that they might fall down or something like that. I remember the hadith of Hammam, Amir al-Mu'mineen salam alayhi. Hammam wants to know the the mu'min. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, Hammam, don't ask. You're asking too much. It's too much. You're not able to handle. And he kept insisting and insisting. Amir al-Mu'mineen salam Allah opened the faucet of the believer. The believer is this, the believer is that, the believer is this. He got everything in Alam al-Dhar, in Alam al-Malakut, in al-Kitab about the description of the believers. This Hammam, he thought that he had reached that believer level. So what happened once Amir Mu'min was done? فَشَهِقَ شَهْقَةً فَمَاتَ. He took a big sigh, a big deep breath, died. That is what, whenever I say hyperbolic Irfani shock, that's what it reminds me of the hadith of Hammam. Sometimes people can't tolerate the doses of spirituality and high level, and they just faint and knock down and this kind of thing. So that's why if I give some examples like that, is the hadith of Hammam is in mind, not to offend anybody, but just to praise. I mean, the Irfanism becomes heightened, and sometimes it reaches to the level people cannot tolerate. And you can see our Aimmas alayhimus salatu wasalam. So this is a positive point. It's not a so positive. Aimma alayhimus salam, when the time of Salah comes, their face will become pale and they will knock down and they'll lose their conscience and all those kind of things. So these are Irfani states, like that the people cannot tolerate because of the majesty on the God. So that's why we said that sometimes weird things happen. So let's say, just for example, like she was in that state and whoops, the stress of Irfan came and she encountered her excuse. Okay. So it's a positive thing, the Irfani states, which I keep mentioning. Yeah. So let's say if she was doing the tawaf around the Kaaba, because one of the sisters says you always mock the Irfani. I don't mock. It's just like I remember the hadith, and somehow it's like humorous for me that this guy could not tolerate the level of Irfanism in the attributes of Muhammad. So he got hyperbolic shock and awe situation. So it's like a praising. Why to take it negatively? Anyhow, she was in the fourth round. She completed the fourth round and she encountered period. I hope that's okay. Okay. She encountered monthly period during the tawaf of Nisa. So it will be permissible for her to appoint a representative to complete the remaining 3 rounds and to do the tawaf of to do the salat of tawaf of Nisa on her behalf, and then leave with the caravan, because the caravan will leave and she can't stay here. Ruling number 424. If someone forgets the salat of Tawaf al-Nisa, what will be the ruling? The ruling has been mentioned in ruling number 329, he says. So please refer to that in the Salat of Tawaf of Umrah. Ruling number 425. If a person who's performing Tawaf of Nisa for Hajj al-Tamattu' and he offered the Salat. If someone performed the Tawaf of Nisa and the Salat of Tawaf of Nisa of Hajj al-Tamattu'. So all the spousal relations will be permissible for him, regardless of he was men or women. We said both of them they have to do. Both of them spousal relations are prohibited. So if they do, regardless of men and women, if someone was performing, if someone performed the tawaf of Nisa in Hajj al-Tamattu' and tawaf of Nisa and its salat of Hajj al-Tamattu', tawaf of Nisa of Hajj al-Tamattu' and its salah, the spousal relations will be halal for regardless of that person is male or female, men or women. So everything is halal now except for hunting. فَتَبْقَى حُرْمَةُ الصَّيْدِ إِلَى الظُّهُرِ. Those lovers of hunting, they will have to abstain and hold themselves until the 13th of the Hajj on the basis of obligatory precaution. And after the 13th, everything which was haram becomes halal, except for the prohibitions of haram. As long as you are in the haram, even if you are not in the state of ihram, those stay. Though whenever you come back, those are specific to the place you are in, the sacred place. He's mentioned, as mentioned in ruling number 90, the prohibition of haram is inclusive to the one who is in the state of ihram or he is not in the state of ihram. Okay. This was all. So now we have 25 rulings left and we'll be done with our Hajj. Finally, the A'mal of Mina are left. The sandwich, we did it today. A'mal of Mina. What are the A'mal of Mina? Pelting 2 days. Small, medium, large. Small, medium, large. The 3 pillars of Satan. And then staying to 2 eves, eve of 11th and eve of 12th. Yani day of Eid, stay there, you're guest of Allah. Day of 11th, you stay there. 12 after Dhuhr, you leave. That's going to be in our upcoming session. وآخر دعوانا الحمد